How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I want to go through how you can go ahead and create your own trade plan from scratch, the processes and things that I put in place to go ahead and create my own trade plan. So first of all, what you need to do is something called end of day markups. Now, if you've not heard of end of day markups, it's basically what you do after every session that you trade. So for example, if you trade London session and you trade New York session, at the end of New York session, what you would do is you would go back and mark up all of the trades that were available that fit your plan for London session, and then you would do the same for New York session. You could do it straight after London for London and then straight after New York for New York, or you could do it late on in the evening. It's entirely up to you. But personally, what I do is I will obviously trade as I would usually. I would trade London and New York if I trade New York as well. And then what I would do is I would come back in the evening just before I go to bed to get ready for the next day. What I would do is I would come on the chart, and then what I would do is I would just simply mark up all of the opportunity throughout that day, every trade that did fit my plan, and then what I would do is I would log them, and then I would repeat that exact same process the next day. And this is what I did when I first started trading smart money. This is what I did to get my first basic trade plan. And then what I did is I repeated this process every single day, and then obviously you will have so much data that you can go back over the data. You can look at what's working, what's not, what the winning trades have in common, what the losing trades have in common, and over time what you will do is you will refine your plan down up until something that you have that is very polished, something that you can keep and you can trade for a very long time. But this is the overall thing that I would do. So what I would do is I would come onto the daily chart to begin with, because me personally what I do is I predominantly look at the daily, the 4 hour, the 15 minute, and then I enter on the 1 minute. Obviously you can look at the weekly, the monthly if you want to do that, and if you trade those time frames. Personally I don't log the data for those because I don't really look at them that often, but what you can do is if your strategy and the way you trade does obviously incorporate the weekly, the monthly, make sure you log in those as well. But what I would do is obviously just very, very simple, come onto the charts, and then as you can see, I would just literally, we've had a break to the downside here, we've had a break to the downside here, we've got some nice supply zones right here, and just literally go ahead and just annotate stuff on the screen and note things down. So like for example, what you could put is like obviously we've had a change of character right here, we've come down, we've got some nice supply, and then when it comes to taking the trades on the 1 minute, if you drop down to the 1 minute, what you will want to do is actually what I will do is I will just actually bring up the my markups chart and show you what I did yesterday. So yeah, as you can see right here, this is my chart from yesterday evening, and if I just bring back the replay, so this is what I did last night. Obviously I've deleted all the annotations and things like that, but these are the trades here that did fit my plan. So for example, what I would do is I would say obviously we've had a break to the downside, break to the upside. Once I've done all this and done all the analysis on the daily, on the 4 hour, so on the 4 hour, as you can see, I've got all the analysis and stuff like that on. Drop down to the 15 minute, and then once I've done it on the 15 minute, what I would do is I would drop down to the M1, and then I would start looking at the opportunities that did fit my plan for that specific day. So simply all I would do once I'm on the 1 minute is just go ahead, annotate price and things like that. So for example, what I would write is something like we've come into the supply zone here, we've had a reaction from the supply and the supply has gone on and failed, and we've tapped into a demand that's been created on the 15 minute from the flip zone. So actually if I just go up to the 15 minute and just show you what's happening on the 15, come to the right hand side here, this is basically what's happened on the 1 minute. So what's happened is we've come down obviously, and then we've come up, we've had a reaction to this supply zone, and then the supply zone has failed, creating this demand zone right here. So that's literally what I would annotate onto the 1 minute chart and just so you know exactly what's happening on the 1 minute. So dropping back down onto the 1 minute now and just literally show you what's going on. So right, as you can see here, this is where the supply has failed, and then this demand zone here on the 15 minute has been created. So what I was looking for then is I was looking for price to come back into the 15 minute demand zone and then present me an entry in order to get involved. And then as you can see, that's what it actually did. So we've obviously had a take of the low, a take of the high, so we've had our change of character. We've come back down, tapped into here, and I've ended with a 3 pip stop loss and target a 10R. This trade did actually work out. And then moving on, what we'll see is that we've come back down, we've had another flip zone on the 15 minute, so the exact same situation has happened. We've come into the supply, we've had a reaction, then the supply has then failed, creating this demand zone here on the 15 minute. Obviously, if I go back up and just show you again, so what's happened on the 15 minute again, as you can see, we have come up, come back down, the supply zone has then failed, creating this demand zone. We've then tapped back in, and then yeah, so if we're back on the 1 minute now, what you'll see has happened is we've come down, we've got our entry model, we have a take of the low, a take of the high, and then as you can see, price has come back down, but it's not actually tagged us in, but I still will go ahead and, you know, log these no tags, because overall what you'll get is you'll get how many winning trades, you'll be able to work out kind of your strike rate, you'll be able to work out how many losing trades you have in a row, how many winners, how many trades don't tag. But yeah, that's overall what I would do. And then what I would do is I would come over to something called Notion. So this is my Notion here, and then as you can see, I have my end of day markups template for every single day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. What I would do then is I would just go in, and then I would literally enter in my charts. So just going in here, I would I would take a screenshot of the chart, put it in, but then I would also copy the link and put that in also. And then I would do this for every time frame that I want to log. And then once I've done that, and then once I finish for the week, what I will do is I will just collapse this down. I will pick it up and drag it into my archive. And then if we go into my archive, I'll show you what I'll do. And then what I do is I have it sectioned out into years. So obviously we're still on 2022 here. And I have it from January all the way up until December. So now at the moment we have just entered September. So what I've got is I've literally got data for the 1 minute chart up until January 2022, because on the 1 minute chart you can only go back on bar replay up to 6 weeks, I think it is. So what that means is obviously after 6 weeks has passed, obviously from now I wouldn't actually be able to go back to January in order to get the data that I need in order to make refinements or create a plan. So literally log in all the trades down that do fit your plan or do fit, you know, your basic concepts that you're learning, whether that's supply and demand, whether that's support and resistance, you know, whatever it may be. Just log everything down, especially if you're, you know, trading the lower time frames. So for me, obviously I can go back all the way to January and look at the trades that I've taken, and then I can go ahead then and use them in order to make refinements to my plan. But what you can do is, if I just, obviously, I'll just open up August for example here. As you can see, we have got week 1, week 2, week 3 and week 4. So for example, if I just open up, let's just say week 1, I can then go into week 1, and then I can look at all the end of day markups that I've done, and then I can go into, let's say Tuesday, and then I can go down to the 1 minute. So the 1 minute chart, as you can see here, I've got entry 1, entry 2, entry 3. So on this day specifically, I had 3 entries that did fit my plan. Obviously, if you haven't got a plan yet, there will be a lot more trades. Simply because of the fact is you won't have a refined trade plan yet, but that doesn't matter. What you can do is just literally log everything down, like I said, that does fit, you know, the stuff that you're learning. So supply and demand, premium discount, order flow, whatever it may be. Just take trades that do align with the stuff that you're learning, especially if you're a beginner. And then you can come back, and then obviously you could go to, you know, let's just say Thursday. You can go then to the 1 minute, you can look at all these entries here, and then what you can do is you can literally come back, see what your winners have in common, see what your losers have in common, and this is how you can go ahead and start fleshing out a trade plan. So this is what I did personally to create my trade plan when I first started trading supply and demand. I literally logged down all the trades, and then I came back to it and just looked at the data that I had, and then formulated a trade plan from all the data that I'd collected and stored. So yeah, for me, this is something that I do every day. It's something that I'll do every single day for the rest of my trading career, and it's something that I think is very, very important. So I would recommend that you guys start doing this, especially if you haven't got a trade plan, because this is what I did personally to create my first trade plan, and then over time, like I said, it will get refined with the more data that you collect and the more times you go over that data. But yeah guys, that's just about it for this video. If it did provide you any value, please remember to drop a like on today's video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below, and without further ado guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.